Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Yeah, this is Fusion Mobile e-learning center, a solution center, and so far I trust you've been enjoying us. I remain my humble self, I'm Oshito Gunolajide, aka Smoking Brain. I happen to be your biology tutor, and today we'll be looking at microorganisms around us. And here are my outlines. We'll be looking at the meaning of microorganisms. We'll be looking at the various groups of microorganisms. We'll be looking at the point of entry of microorganisms into our body. And lastly, we'll be looking at vectors. Now, this particular session promises to be fun-filled and informative. So follow me closely. Thank you. Now, what are microorganisms? What are microorganisms? What are microorganisms? The word micro talks about organisms that are smaller in sizes. The word micro talks about organisms that are smaller in sizes. Organisms talks about those entities that has life in them. And so we say microorganisms are smaller organisms. To a layman, it is safe to say that microorganisms are smaller organisms. Organisms that are smaller in size. Are you with me? Now, one major attribute of microorganisms is that they are everywhere. And so we say they are what? Ubiquitous. They are ubiquitous. They are everywhere. And so we say they are everywhere. Now they are on trees, they are on land, they are in the water, in our clothes, in our body, everywhere. We have got microorganisms are everywhere. Now, one notable thing about them is that they cannot be seen with the naked eyes. They can only be seen with the aid of a microscope. And what kind of microscope are we talking about? A specialized microscope called the electron microscope. It is called the electron microscope. It's a specialized microscope that allows us to focus and see clearly the structures of tiny microorganisms. So it is also safe to say that microorganisms are tiny organisms that are everywhere, that cannot be seen with the naked eyes except with the aid of an electron microscope. Are you with me? Now, in nature, we have microorganisms that are harmful. And we have some microorganisms that are beneficial. Are you with me? Now, the beneficial ones are not harmful. So we call them non-pathogenic. The beneficial ones are not harmful. So we call them non-pathogenic. We call them non-pathogenic microorganisms. While the ones that are harmful, the one that causes harm and diseases, as the case may be, are called pathogenic. Now, another definition for pathogenic is this. Another definition for pathogen rather is this. A pathogen is an animate causal of disease. Any microorganism that have the ability to cause disease and as well causes the disease is called what? A pathogen. Are you with me? They have the ability to cause disease, so it is called what? A pathogen. Now, briefly we'll be looking at the groups of microorganisms. The groups of microorganisms. The groups of microorganisms. There are basically 5 groups of microorganisms. There are basically 5 groups of microorganisms. Number 1, we have virus. That's number 1. And number 2, we have bacteria. We've got bacteria. Virus, bacteria. Don't forget, we have virus, we have bacteria. Number 3, we have protozoas. We've got protozoa, virus, bacteria, we have protozoa. Don't forget these groups, they are actually wonderful groups. Virus, bacteria, and we've got protozoa. Now, there are also other groups aside from these 3 groups. We have what we call fungi. I know you've heard of it before, fungi, and I think we've talked about it in our previous sessions. So we have virus, we have bacteria, we have protozoa, we have fungi, while the last on the list happens to be algae. Last on the list happens to be algae. So basically we have virus, we have bacteria, we have protozoa, we've got fungi, and we've got algae. So we will be picking all these one after the other. I'll be talking extensively on it. As I said earlier, this class promises to be interesting, so stay glued to it. Thank you. A virus. Now, what is a virus? Now, the mention of virus, what readily sets into your mind is the word HIV. Human immune virus. Human immunodeficiency virus. Human immune virus. Are you with me? Now there's something about virus that you need to know. You need to know. A virus does not have a cell wall. As a matter of fact, virus is the only organism that exists at borderline between living and non-living. Living, virus, non-living. What am I trying to say from this organogram on the board? All I'm trying to show to you is that a virus can be non-living, a virus can be living. Now, what do I mean by a virus can be non-living and a virus can be living? Now, the presence or absence of a host will determine whether a virus will be living or will determine whether a virus will be non-living or living. The presence or absence of a host will determine whether a virus is living or non-living. Now, what do I mean by host? Now, a host simply talks about a carrier organism. A host is an organism that is available to carry the said virus. Now, if a virus is inside the host, inside an organism, I know you've been to parties before and you're having to see the host of the program. The host of the program is the one that is organizing the party, so to speak. So you come around, you eat, and you have fun. So that person is the host. Now the person that invites virus into his or her body, allowing them to have fun, is called the host. So if the host is present, the virus goes inside the host, and so we say the virus is what's living. If the host is absent, the virus cannot find a place to stay. So we say the virus is what? Non-living. So inside the host, the virus have the ability to what? Replicate. Replication simply means what? Multiplicity. They have the ability to what? To multiply. Are you with me? Inside the host, the virus replicate. But outside the host, the virus is non-living. What do I mean by non-living? They are just particles. The virus is just what? Particles outside the host. Now, it is also interesting to note that the virus has got a proteinous coat. Are you with me? A virus has a proteinous coat. Now, let's quickly go through the attribute that we've spoken on thus far. I said a virus exists at borderline between living and non-living. I said inside the host, a virus is living, it replicates. Outside the host, a virus is non-living. It is just a particle. It is just what? A particle. In other words, it is a non-living entity. Now, one thing again you need to know is that virus cannot be seen with the naked eye except with the aid of what? An electron microscope. Another point is that a virus has either DNA or RNA, but not both. That means you can easily see a virus that has DNA. You can see another virus that has RNA, but you cannot see a virus that has DNA and RNA together. In other words, you can also use this to group what? Virus. Are you with me? You can use it to group what? Virus. So we've got DNA viruses and we've got what? RNA viruses. Now, virus cause lots of diseases. We have Newcastle diseases in cattle. Aside from Newcastle diseases, we have what we call smallpox, we have poliomyelitis. We have several diseases that are being caused by virus. So just get acquainted with it. Are you with me? So I said virus has DNA or RNA, and we talked about the various diseases that can be caused by them. Are you with me? Now, one dangerous thing about viruses is that inside the host, they replicate. They increase in number. And that reminds me, the major reason why you see that people with virusic infections such as HIV, they would be advised to take multiple drugs. Is that one thing about viruses is they get acquainted to a particular drug. If you have a particular virus and you're being given probably one particular drug, let's call that drug A. You'll be given that drug A. When that drug A gets in for the very first time, it looks strange to them. So the drug A can easily attack them and finish some of them. Are you with me? And within the nanoseconds, they grow again. Now, what happens is if you continue to consume drug A, they will get used to it. And when it comes in, it is no longer a threat to them. All they do is just to swallow it and they walk away and they start celebrating. And that's why doctors, knowing this, or pharmacists knowing this, will prescribe multiple drugs for you. So that when they get acquainted to A, they cannot easily get acquainted to B. When they get acquainted to drug B, drug C will set in. Another will have drug A, B, C, D, multiple drugs to combine them. Viruses are very, very powerful, very, very powerful. And early treatment is actually required to reduce the rate of harm that they cause. Thank you very much. Okay, so some questions will pop up on your screen, and I actually love the fact that everyone is actually complying, you're attentive. So try as much as possible to answer those questions. Try as much as possible to answer those questions. They are simple though. Now, welcome back. So now we're done with virus. We will now be looking at the second group, and the second group is called bacteria. We're looking at the second group. The second group is called bacteria. Bacteria. The second group is called bacteria. But briefly, before I talk on bacteria, I want to give you other typical examples of virus. We have what we call the picovirus. We have the picovirus. We have the toga virus. We have toga virus. We have the paramyxovirus. We have the paramyxovirus, and we have the coronavirus. So there are actually many other viruses, typical ones: picovirus, togavirus, paramyxovirus, wonderful viruses, wonderful I must say, and as well they are powerful. So now let's come back to bacteria. Now what are bacteria? Now bacteria are actually prokaryotic organisms. What do I mean by prokaryotic organisms? They lack bounded organelles. They don't have any organelles to center around. They don't have organizational structure. Their organelles are scattered. They are just everywhere. They are just moving, free flowing, and it's not naturally supposed to be so when we look at what multicellular organisms are compared to this. So now the bacteria has a slimy capsule. It has a slimy capsule which is not always present. It has got a slimy capsule which is not always present. Now when we look at their nucleic acid, you'll be amazed. For virus, we have either DNA or RNA. Either simply means one is present. If this one is here, the other one is not there. So they have either DNA or RNA. They don't have both. Please don't mistake it. They have DNA or RNA. But for bacteria, bacteria has got only DNA. Bacteria has only what? DNA. Now I've been saying DNA, I've been saying RNA. What does it mean? Now DNA simply means what? Deoxyribonucleic acid. That's the meaning. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Why RNA means what? Ribonucleic acid. Are you with me? Now the major difference between DNA and RNA is that this one, the RNA is a single strand, while the DNA is a double strand. Now let's move on. So they've got this DNA as part of it. Now there's something about bacteria again. They produce a particular type of spores that make them to withstand harsh environmental conditions. Now such spores are called endospores. Now these spores are resistant to drought, they are resistant to fire, they are resistant to several other things, and that is why with the help of these spores they get to multiply easily. Now do you know that for every cell in your body we've got 10 bacterial cells, corresponding cells? So just imagine the number of bacterial cells in your body. Enjoy it. Now let's go back. So we have endospores. Those are the type of spores they produce in order to survive or withstand environmental conditions. So aside from the fact that we have slimy capsule, aside from the fact that we have DNA, aside from the fact that we have deoxyribonucleic acid, one thing again is that the bacteria has got cell wall. The bacteria has got cell wall. Another is that they lack true nuclei. They lack true nuclei. They lack true what? Nuclei. And lastly, they reproduce by binary fission. They reproduce by binary fission. Virus does not reproduce by binary fission, but bacteria reproduce by binary fission. Binary fission is an asexual mode of propagation. It simply talks about the body parts dividing into two, another part dividing into two, another part dividing like that. And with that, they tend to colonize larger amount of places. One key factor again concerning bacteria is that they are ubiquitous. Now you're smiling. I know you've gotten familiar with the word. Ubiquitous. That means bacteria are what? They are everywhere. They are in your palm, in your clothes, in the air, everywhere. So just close your mouth so they won't get into your mouth. So bacteria are everywhere. So now, when we look at bacteria can be classified based on these two concepts, oxygen and shapes. They can be classified based on oxygen and shapes, and that's what we're going to look at now. Based on oxygen and shape. Now, based on oxygen, bacteria can be called aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, and facultative bacteria. Now, what do I mean by this term? Aerobic. Now, aerobic bacteria are bacteria that can only survive in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic bacteria are bacteria that don't need oxygen. They survive in the absence of oxygen. Now, for aerobic that needs oxygen, if oxygen is not there, they die. For anaerobic that does not need oxygen, if oxygen is there, they die. For facultative, if oxygen is there, they survive. If oxygen is not there, they survive. Are you with me? Oxygen is there, they survive. No oxygen, they also survive. That's why we call them facultative bacteria. So the word facultative comprises of the two. Aerobic needs oxygen, anaerobic does not need oxygen. Facultative, whether oxygen is there or not, what do? They survive. If oxygen is there, they survive. If oxygen is not there, they survive. So this is classification of bacteria based on oxygen. Now we look at the classification of bacteria based on their shape, and that happens to be very, very interesting. Now, based on their shape, bacteria are classified as cocci. Cocci. Now, cocci are what? Round-shaped bacteria. Cocci are round-shaped bacteria. Aside from cocci, we have what we call vibro. Vibro is a comma-shaped bacteria. Comma-shaped bacteria. That's what we call vibro. Now, aside from vibro, we have the spirille. Spirille is a spiral type. Spirille is a spiral type. What we call the bacillus. The bacillus is a rod shape. It's like a rod shape, just like that. A rod shape, spiral, like a spring, comma shape, and we have round shape. And the last one, we have the spirochete. The spirochete is also part of it. It's just like a combo. It wants to look like kitty as an H1, but it's different. So we have cocci, we have vibro, we have spiral, we have bacillus, and we have spirochete. Now, when we look at cocci, now there are some cocci that exist in chains, and there are some cocci that exist in cluster. The cocci in chains are called streptococci. The cocci, let's come down here. The cocci, this is for chain. The cocci in clusters are called staphylococci. They are called staphylococci. Those ones exist in clusters. Now, aside from cocci, now vibro, a very noticeable example of a vibro disease, which is common, is your cholera. Now we call it is called vibro cholerae. Vibro cholerae is small letter C. Cholera, vibro cholerae. This is what we call binomial nomenclature. Two different names. Are you with me? So we have the vibro, we have the spirille, we have the bacillus, and we have the spirochete. So these are the shapes of bacteria. With this shape, you can actually name a what? A bacteria. A bacteria. Now, a quick recap. I said bacteria has DNA. Bacteria has a cell wall. It is prokaryotic organisms. Don't forget, I said bacteria is prokaryotic organisms. It has DNA. That one is very, very essential. It produces endospores, which helps it to withstand harsh environmental conditions. They are found everywhere. That means they are ubiquitous. They are in the body, outside the body, in the cloth, everywhere. They are there. Now, I said they can be classified based on oxygen. We have aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, and facultative bacteria. Now, when you look at the shape, we've got the cocci, the round shape. We've got the vibro, which is common. We have spirille, which is spiral. We've got bacillus, which is rod shape. And lastly, we have spirochete. So quickly, we'll move now to the third group of microorganisms that cause disease around us. Thank you. Okay, now okay. Okay, so protozoans are microscopic, unicellular, and free-living organisms. Let's go again. Protozoans are microscopic, unicellular. Protozoans are microscopic, unicellular, free-living organisms. Are you with me? So they have the ability to showcase this attribute: microscopic, unicellular, free-living organisms. Now there are some protozoans that are parasitic in nature, just like your plasmodium. Now the plasmodium causes what we call the malaria fever. Then we have the trypanosome. Your trypanosome. Trypanosome, you know, it causes trypanosomiasis, which is responsible for sleeping sickness. It causes what? Sleeping sickness. So that's what you need to know about protozoa. Okay, so now we're at fungi. Now fungi are multicellular organisms. That's fungi. Now one thing about fungi is fungi does not have chlorophyll. So obviously fungi lacking chlorophyll means they cannot photosynthesize. Are you with me? Now the vegetative body of fungi is referred to as hypha. Are you with me? They have no chlorophyll. It's referred to as what? Hypha. They have no chlorophyll. Now some are saprophytic. E.g. mucor, while some are parasitic. Are you with me? We have parasitic ones and we have saprophytic ones. Don't forget, fungi, their vegetative body is called hyphae. They do not have chlorophyll. Some are saprophytic, e.g. mucor, and some are parasitic. So let's quickly look at the last group. The last group is called the algae. The last group is called the algae. Are you still here with me? Now, algae are microscopic plants that are mostly found in the aquatic environment. They are microscopic and they are mostly found in the aquatic environment. Now, what are the examples that we have? We have the nostoc, we have Pandorina, we have the Euglena, we've got the Chlamydomonas, etc. So those are basically the groups. Again, let's take the groups of microorganisms that we have. We've got virus, we have bacteria, we have algae, we have fungi, and what is the last group that we have? Let's take it again so we'll remember together. Okay, so we have algae, which is the last. We have bacteria. Now we've got fungi, and we have virus, and lastly we have protozoa. Yeah, thank you very much, my wonderful audience. It's been here all along. And we have protozoa. Thank you. So now we'll be moving to point of entry of microorganisms into our body. Point of entry of microorganisms into our body. Point of entry of microorganisms into our body. So the various ways through which microorganisms can get to enter our body is: number one, it can get to enter our body through our mouth. It can get to enter our body through our nose. The mouth is what we call oral, through our mouth. It could enter through our nose. It could enter through our skin. It could enter as well through our anus. It could enter through animal bites. It could enter through blood contact. Again, it could enter through the mouth. It could enter through the nose. It could enter through the skin. It could enter through the anus. It could enter through animal bites. It could enter through blood contact. And it could enter as well through birth. That's when they make use of unsterilized equipment. It could enter through birth. And lastly, it could enter through sexual contact. I know you've heard of STD, sexually transmitted diseases. So it could enter through sexual contact, like the syphilis, gonorrhea, and all that. So let's take a look at this. The point of entry, it could enter through the mouth, through the nose, the skin, the anus, the animal bites, blood contact, birth, and sexual contact. So lastly, we'll be looking at the word vector. We'll be looking at the word vector. Now class, what does the word vector mean? Now vector is not the vector that is singing. This vector is not a musician. This vector here is a biological term. Are you with me? Now vector is a carrier of disease. Are you with me? Vector is a carrier of disease. Vector is a carrier of disease causing organisms. Are you with me? A carrier of disease causing organism. Or we can just say vector is a disease carrier. Anyhow it is, they are still referring to the same thing, a vector. So I will be drawing a table and we'll be looking at the various diseases. We'll be looking at the vector that is carrying that disease. I'll be looking at the how do I say, the major thing they contain that is actually causing that disease. Okay, as we have established earlier that vectors are animals that carry disease-causing agent. Are you? Now if we look at disease-causing agent, there are bacteria, there are virus, there are protozoans, there are fungi, and there are algae. So animals carrying these disease-causing agents, they are called what? Vectors or what? Carriers. They are called vectors or what? Carriers. Are you with me? Vectors or carriers. So basically now, one thing you need to understand is this. I think some minutes ago I talked about pathogenic. I said pathogenic means having the ability to cause harm. So if you don't have the ability to cause harm, you're non-pathogenic. So pathogenic simply means all these organisms here have the ability to cause harm. So Anopheles mosquito, is the vector or the carrier of Plasmodium. Are you with me? It is a vector or the carrier of Plasmodium. Are you with me? Now what kind of disease does Anopheles cause? Are you with me? Anopheles that carries Plasmodium causes malaria. Anopheles that carries Plasmodium causes malaria. As you and I know, it is a female Anopheles mosquito that causes malaria. And you know how malaria is rampant in our country. Anopheles carries Plasmodium and it causes what? Malaria. So this Plasmodium is the causal organism. It is the particular organism that is causing the disease, but it needs a host called the Anopheles. So the Anopheles carries this and gives birth to this. Are you doing? So now let's look at Sesefly. Remember those days in primary school, we have some couple of guys that sit at the back and they sleep like no man's business. So then we say they have a sleeping sickness. So Sesefly is the carrier of trypanosome. Are you with me? Trypanosome resides in Sesefly. Sesefly is a host for trypanosome, and Sesefly will not give birth to sleeping sickness. Do you get what I'm saying? It carries this. If you suffer from its bite, you get sleeping sickness. Or if you get infected by Sesefly, you get what? Sleeping sickness. You just be sleeping anyhow, all day, all through, anyhow. So now we have housefly. Now the housefly carries what we call the vibrocolerae. The vibrocolera is an organism, a causal organism of cholera. Now, so housefly carrying this, if you get infected or you get bit or you suffer from housefly bite or whatever it may be, you have cholera or typhoid fever. Are you with me? Cholera or typhoid. So it causes cholera, it as well causes typhoid fever. So now let's move down. We have the rat flea, or we can call it the body louse. In this case, louse, like lice, like singular and plural, lice. Are you with me? The body lice. That one it carries what we call rickettsia. And as such, it causes typhus. Are you with me? It carries rickettsia and it causes typhus. Now we have the Aedes mosquito. Are you with me? We have the female Anopheles mosquito, and we have the Aedes mosquito. The Aedes mosquito carries virus. It is virusic in nature, and it causes yellow fever or dengue fever. Are you with me? It causes yellow fever or dengue fever. Aedes mosquito carries virus. Female Anopheles mosquito carries Plasmodium, causes malaria, while Aedes mosquito causes yellow fever or dengue fever. Now the body lice carries rickettsia and it causes typhus. You know that housefly carries cholera, vibrocolerae rather, and it causes cholera or typhoid fever. So the last year now is our rat fleas. It carries bacteria and it causes plague. So now let's go through it one more time. The Anopheles mosquito carries Plasmodium, causing malaria, good. The Sesefly carries trypanosome, causing sleeping sickness, good. Housefly carries vibrocolerae and it causes cholera as well as typhoid fever. And now moving forward, you will notice that the rat flea or the body lice here carries rickettsia and it causes typhus. The Aedes mosquito, it's a carrier of virus and it causes yellow fever or dengue fever. Now the last on the list is the rat fleas carrying bacteria and it causes plague. So with this, we've come to a particular point where we have to say, okay, we've I think at this particular point I can pronounce you a graduate of microorganisms around us. But before I do that, I would like us to quickly look at our outlines again. So far we've looked at the meaning of microorganisms. We've looked at the groups of microorganisms ranging from fungi, protozoa, algae, virus, and bacteria. We look at the point of entry to our body. I said they can get it through the mouth, the nose, the skin, the anus, blood contact, through birds, and through sexual intercourse such as STDs. I said those stuff. And lastly, we'll look at vectors. I said vectors are animate carriers of disease. Are you doing? They are the carriers of disease. So when they carry them and you get infected by them, probably through their bite or whatever, you suffer from the result. Are you doing? So just like the Anopheles carries Plasmodium and causes malaria, the Sassafly carries Trypanosome, causing trypanosomiasis, known as what? Sleeping sickness. The housefly, it's a carrier of vibrio cholerae, and when you get infected, you have what we call cholera or typhoid fever, or have the body lice carrying rickettsia, and it causes what we call the typhus. Or have the Aedes mosquito. Take note, Anopheles mosquito carries Plasmodium, causing malaria. The Aedes mosquito is a carrier of virus. It is virusic in nature and causes dengue fever or yellow fever. And the last is the rat fleas, which is a carrier of bacteria and it causes plague. Now, as usual, a question will pop up on your screen. So try as much as possible to do the needful. It's been a wonderful time out with you traveling on this journey. Thank you very much.